Welcome to this week's edition of Hawk Talk. I'm Seth Morkirky.
I'm Susanna Moberg.
We had a busy weekend here at home. Volleyball played twice, football played twice, and so we're interviewing a volleyball player. So go ahead and introduce yourself, where you're from, and what you do here.
I'm Cassandra North, and I'm from Missoula, Montana, and I play volleyball here at DSU.
Yeah, you had a very highly successful career in high school, 2 state championships, a lot of recruiting offers. Decided to make the trip over to DSU for college. Big transition from the western side of Montana to the western side of North Dakota. What has that transition been like in volleyball as well?
The transition was hard. Going from high school volleyball to college volleyball, the tempo and just the atmosphere of everything just changed tremendously. It was a lot faster.
Yeah, that's college, right? That's it. And that's one of the great things about college. You're quickly becoming a powerful force on this team. I've noticed in the past home games and some of the away games, you're becoming one of the more dominant players on the team. And so what has that been like to step into that role for this team? How do you keep continuing in that success?
I just keep continuing by knowing that my team believes in me. Yeah. There's definitely a lot of nervousness going into it, and I feel like if I mess up there's a lot on my back, but the team definitely helps me with that.
Yeah, and it's your first year here, so last weekend was your first time playing in front of this home crowd. What was that feeling like? What was that environment like?
Scary. It was very nerve-wracking, but kind of used to student sections from high school, but it was definitely a lot of pressure.
Yeah, and you guys, you dropped 2 games this past weekend, but you fought hard, especially in that second and third set. But what were you girls seeing? What were you feeling, as you were playing?
We definitely came together as a team during those games, and the only thing that we really that brought us down was not being able to finish and push those points to get to the end of the match. Yeah,
those 2 sets in both of those games were so exciting, and we overcame in those 2 sets, almost won those third sets as well. And I was so excited watching those games because I knew you guys could finish, and I think that's just the key. So how do we continue to grow? What are the steps that you guys are taking to continue to be able to finish?
We just need to trust everyone on the court and believe that everyone's going to do their part and do what they need to do to finish the game.
Well said. And you have, we talked about it last week with Kylie, a balanced arrangement of freshmen, sophomore, juniors, and seniors. A lot of those girls have played college volleyball, have played upper level. So what kind of things are they saying to you? What kind of advice are they giving you as you're nervous, as you're coming into some of these games, some of these big games, some of these home games, some of the away games? What are they saying to you to encourage you?
They just tell me that I got this next ball, or that I'm only a freshman. I still have 3 more seasons after this, and that this is just the beginning. It always gets better.
Yeah, that's really true. And the last question we're asking everybody, especially since it's our centennial year, especially because you're a freshman. You've only been here a couple months, but what does DSU mean to you?
DSU is my family away from my family. Yeah. It's home away from home.
Yeah.
The atmosphere, everyone here is so nice. And yeah.
That's great. Well, it's great to have you in this Blue Hawk family. We appreciate you coming on.
Thank you.
And we'll be back talking to her coach right after this.
Life is full of many successes, achievements, stages. Every year we grow, things change, and pretty soon we realize we want and need to do more. When you're ready for that next step, Dickinson State University will get you there. Find out how at dsublue.com.
Well, welcome back to Hawk Talk. We're here talking with someone who has been a player and been a coach now at DSU. So go ahead and introduce yourself, where you're from, and what you do here.
I'm Jen Hartman. I'm the head volleyball coach and assistant track and associate SID. So a lot of different hats, I'm from Miles City, Montana originally, but I've been here the past 9 years. Yeah,
and you played volleyball, now you're coaching volleyball, also coaching track, but we're talking volleyball here. Pre-season, you guys traveled all the way to Montana, all the way to South Dakota, a lot of different places, played some hard competition, some fierce competition. How important was that to get these girls thrown into some of those mixes?
It was really important to play a tough preseason. We got a lot of bbexperience playing tougher teams. When you have 2 nationally ranked teams in your conference, we need to have that experience early so that we can compete at that higher level when we go into conference play.
Yeah, and speaking of conference play, we went over to Valley City, dropped one 4-1 over there. It was a hard-fought game there, and then you came back, played Briarcrest, first home game, also Stanton Strong night. What was the feeling with that, coming and playing in front of the home crowd?
It was just so nice to finally have a home game after 10 on the road.
Yeah.
And it was just great to play for something bigger than our team and bigger than our program and stuff like that. And to play for Coach Dan Stanton was a huge honor and stuff. And we were just really happy that we could get that win for that family and everything. So.
Yeah. You've got lots of young players this year that are kind of stepping up into their roles. So Jenna and Cassie we had on the show earlier, and Alyssa. What's that like, having those younger players stepping up?
It's it's an experience for sure, but they just play so hard and they play with so much heart. And what's nice about young players is they usually don't have any expectations for themselves. They just go out and play big and make big plays, and we really appreciate everything that they do, along with the whole team, and it's just fun to mentor those younger players.
Yeah. On the opposite side, you've seen those older girls step into these leadership and mentoring roles. What's that like, watching those players?
It's been a great experience having players for 4 years now. Allie Hertz and events, having them for 4 years is just wonderful, and seeing them step into their leadership roles. I mean, Allie's a quiet leader, but she really leads by example and stuff, whereas Ellie Hanser, she's a little bit more of a vocal leader and kind of our energy bus sometimes, and it's been really fun to see them kind of fall into their leadership roles.
And this past weekend we had 2 home games. We played Bellevue and Dakota State. Friday night played Bellevue. Lost the first set, won the second set, battled through the third set, and man, we were about to finish or win that thing. What were you feeling all through that weekend as you watched the girls just competing their hearts out?
Oh man, we're just right there, and that's the exciting part, but it's kind of the frustrating part at the same time, is to be that close and then not be able to completely finish and come out with the win and the results that you want. But we're so proud of how much better this team gets every single week, and we just hope to continue to get better as we play.
Yeah. What will it take to see the girls come out and encourage them to play to the highest level you know that they can?
So, it's really just going to take just them starting to believe in themselves and have no doubt, have no fear, and just go out and play the way they know how to play the way that they play in practice, just loose and aggressive, and they just go at each other in practice, and it's really fun, and that's kind of what we need to do when we go into matches. Yeah.
And you're heading on a long road trip this weekend, heading to Viterbo, heading to Waldorf. What do these road trips mean to you, and how do you prepare for these long road trips and these tough games, tough conference games?
A lot of cheese balls on the bus. But just kidding. The girls do love their cheese balls. But no, we have movies. They bond on the bus, which, it is 10 hours over to Wisconsin. That is a drive for sure and a trip. But that's where they bond. That's where they kind of build their team and build their relationships. And so we're really grateful for the time that we spend on the bus together, and it's fun to see them come together even closer every bus trip. So.
Well, we've been asking everyone, it's our centennial year, and as someone who was a player, now a coach, you wear all these different hats at DSU. What does DSU mean to you?
Oh man, I get all emotional. Just kidding, but DSU is I just love it so much. It's just the greatest place it was the greatest place to compete at. Being a Blue Hawk just meant so much to me as a player, especially the fact that I got to do volleyball and track, and then now to be able to coach, man, it's just, and have like my former coach, Coach Stanton, mentoring me and stuff. It just really means a lot. Like, once a Hawk, always a Hawk, and that's so true and stuff, and you just bleed blue. I mean, I love DSU.
Yeah, that's great. Well, it's great to have you here on campus. Great to have you on the show.
Yes, thank you.
And we'll be back talking with a football player right after this. Well, welcome back to Hawk Talk. We got a guest on the show who is no stranger to this show. He's been a guest many times and had a very big weekend. So go ahead and introduce yourself, where you're from, and what you do here.
Malcolm Liggins from Bismarck, North Dakota. Play football and track, and I'm a senior.
Yeah, so you're a senior this year. You've been a starter for 4 years. What's it like being a senior, being a leader on those teams?
It's a huge honor, you know. Like, I've been here for 4 years. I've always played a pretty decent role with the team, but to finally been given the position to kind of take a little more aggressive approach, take charge a little bit, it's a huge honor. And all the guys and all the seniors that have been here since I've been here, we kind of know what we know what Blue Hawk football is about. We know what we did to get here, and so it's just fun, and it's awesome to be here. It's unfortunate it's my last year, but I'm gonna try to make the best of it.
Yeah, and this year the defense has become such a powerful force. They've caused so many turnovers. I think we're at 13 on the season, only had 4 games. It's a very great stat. How do you guys continue to cause such problems for these offenses that are supposed to be so good?
We just keep doing what Coach Steer is telling us to do, you know, work hard, go fast, pay attention to the little things, don't get too caught up in everything. If you do your job, the rest will follow. You don't need to be a hero. And I think that's what really sets us apart, you know, we all know what we need to bring to the table, and for the most part we do it, and we're just hungry and ready to play.
Yeah, and you, along with a couple other guys on the team on the offense and defense, are projected to be All-Americans this year. You made a play this past weekend that has set you on track for that All-American status. Let's talk about that interception. You know, you maybe were beat. I won't say you were beat, but people said you were beat. But you came up and made this amazing catch. So talk through what you were thinking, what you were feeling before the play, after the play, and everything in between.
Well, we're going against presentation, a very high-powered offense, and I was going against their best receiver. So I figured there's a chance on 3rd and 11 I would get some action. And he came out. He gave me a little move. He did kind of have me beat for a sack, for a step.
Just for a step.
And then I looked at him, and I looked in his eyes, and he was ready for the ball. So I turned around to get ready for the ball, and there's the ball. And then so I just grabbed it, and then as I was grabbing, I realized wow, I think I have it.
Yeah.
And I wasn't sure if I really had it or not, so I was I'm gonna fall down just in case. And then I fell down, and I get up, and I see my teammates' reaction. I was just oh man, I really caught that.
Yeah.
And so it was a pretty exciting experience. I've never done nothing that cool in my life. And so that felt really good to get, and it was early in the game, so it felt like it gave us momentum for the whole game,
for sure.
honestly. And so that felt really good to get. And
yeah, I agree.
Yeah, you talked a little bit about presentation, how they were apparently one of the best offensive teams. So thinking about that powerful offense, what does that say about our defense coming in this game?
I feel it just shows we're not scared of no one. We're ready to go, ready to work, and I think we straight scared them. You know, we came out harder, faster, and we're ready to play, and I don't think they're ready for that, so we can keep that going throughout the season I know we can. I think we're going to be dangerous for anyone in the conference, anyone in the nation, and I'm excited for that, and I'm excited to see what we bring.
Yeah, and over the past couple of years, especially even this year, you guys, the defense, has become such a solid staple to the DSU football team. At times it was the offense, at times it was the defense. Last year you guys really had the back of the offense, and this year the offense has been stepping up a lot recently. So what does that mean to know that you guys are going to make plays on defense, and then they're going to answer back and make plays on offense?
It's huge. Field position in the game of football is so important. So when you go when you get the team 3 and out, or if we do end up having to make them punt, or if we end up fighting with them, to know that the offense is going to come out there and have our back right away. Whether we give up a score, give up a field goal, we're not worried about, because our offense has our back, and we know they're going to put points on the board. And it allows us to play our system. How you trust your guy, you trust your team. It allows you to just do your job. It's oh, you give up a big play, doesn't matter. We'll probably stop them here.
Yeah.
Or and then if we don't stop them, our offense is going to score. And so that's really comforting to have, honestly.
Yeah, a big confidence. An interesting stat here: where the Blue Hawk football team is now 110-0 at home this year. We've had 2 home games, 2 blowouts. How much of that is home field advantage, and what does that home field advantage mean to you?
Oh, it's huge home field advantage. I feel bad for any team that has come to the Hank Bijou Facility Center. And so it's just I love putting on a show for the fans. It's always nice, getting a dub. In my 4 years of playing here, I've never lost a home game. And so that's really something nice. And I pride myself, and I pride this team in it. And 110-0, that's unreal. And I think we can keep that up.
Yeah.
And I think we should be able to do it. if we just stay hungry, stay to our principles, and stay to the fundamentals, like I said, we're going to be scary, and I'm excited for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. You guys are headed to Dakota State, big rival. It's their homecoming. What are the keys to victory in a game like this?
It's always tough playing there. They're a good team, and they have a great environment at their home field, and so it's going to be tough. But like I said, I'm not worried. I know what our guys bring to the table. So like I said, we just do what we need to do. It's done.
Yeah. And you've been an active part of the football team, active part of the track team, All-American in track, everything in between in the community, in the classroom. You've been a very active person on campus. So the question is, what does DSU mean to you as you've spent 5 years here and heading out into the rest of your life?
It means the world. Like, honestly, I always tell people if I get in this conversation with someone, like, coming to Dickinson State is probably one of the best decisions I've made in my life. Just for, like, the family environment here. You know guys who have your back. Like, there's guys I hit back home, you know, like, don't text me back. And there's guys here who constantly hit me up, you know, like, just the family it brings. Everyone wants to be involved with what you're doing, and they care about you. And it's huge. And then the atmosphere here as well, like, nothing beats it.
That's right. Well, Jay, it's been a pleasure to have you on. Always great to have you on the show. You're always a warm face here. And so we'll be right back talking about some of the stuff from this past week and recap some of the events and looking forward to the next. Well, welcome back to Hawk Talk. We're just going to kind of recap this past weekend and then look forward to the next. We got some big events coming up this next weekend. So we'll start with rodeo. Rodeo, they were off this past weekend, but they're heading down to Iowa for I believe it's the Triton Stampede or something along those lines. Going to be a big showing for them. I believe that's one of the last rodeos that they have before they come back to North Dakota. So we're excited for that one.
Yep, and I know golf is going away this weekend. They're heading to Rapid City. They'll be there Sunday, Monday, Tuesday.
Yep.
And it's their last meet before their conference, or their last before their conference.
Yep, before the conference meet. It's could be a cold one down in Rapid City. Could be a cold one here in North Dakota. So that'll be cool to see how golf does there.
Yeah.
And then softball, we didn't mention this last week because I didn't find out until after the show was airing. But softball played this weekend in a scrimmage. They played Williston State and Dawson Community College, and it sounded like the girls played really well. And that's always great to hear that the softball team, they get a game in or a scrimmage in the fall and kind of get those nerves out of the way, get some of those restless legs under their feet. And then looking at cross country, they went to the University of Providence, had that cross country meet there. The women took first at this meet. They beat nationally ranked Montana Western, and I believe Carroll was the other ranked team. And they performed really, really well. Lisa Townsend, who is the North Star Athletic Runner of the Week, took 5th place there at that meet, and then a couple of the other girls, I believe Emily took 7th, and some of those other girls had some top finishes. And the men, I think, took 4th there. And Rodney Henry took 16th, and he's continuing to show that he's the best runner that we have here at DSU. And he's really making a name for himself as well. Yeah,
definitely. And we got the opportunity to talk today to Jen Hartman and a player on the volleyball team, Cassie. And they just recently played Bellevue. They lost in 4 in that game. They also played Dakota State, lost in 4 in that game. But we're looking forward to games with Viterbo and Waldorf. I was going to say Wartford, but that's where I got my braces. But anyways, so we're looking forward to those games. We got to talk a little bit about them with those people. So we're looking forward to that.
Tough losses, but they're these next 2 games are also conference, and so it'll be a good challenge for them. We're excited to see how they do on the road against another nationally ranked team, and then Waldorf as well, traveling there. And then lastly, football. Football, as we talked to Jay, they beat Presentation, or we beat Presentation, I should say, 59-0. Had a really, really great game. Offense, the run game was established in that game. The pass game was established in that game. And obviously the defense, they had 3 turnovers. They're continuing to leave that mark. I'm thinking they have to be averaging, 3 turnovers a game. And so that's a very impressive mark. and they're headed to Dakota State, like you mentioned earlier. We're headed to Dakota State. I keep saying they.
Yeah,
We're
you're
headed
definitely
to
a part of it, and you're also going.
Yeah, we're headed to Dakota State for their homecoming.
Yeah.
Big game.
Rivalry.
Always been a rival since I've been here, and we just got that taste in our mouth where we want to go take it to them.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a big weekend for DSU.
Exactly.
And obviously you can check out any of the stats, check out any of the games. I don't know if any of the games will be played on Consolidated or on DSUBlueHawks.com, but you can always check stats for there, check updates for anything from rodeo to cross country to volleyball to football to anything else. But we'll be back next week talking a little bit more about some of these athletics. But until then, Hawks are up.